All right. Finally, we got Erica Thieman and Alicia Young. And yesterday was a big day for Erica. And you were her support group yesterday, Alicia?
Yes.
You were?
Okay.
Cheerleader.
I will say 12 hours in the sun in over 100-degree weather, we stuck it out.
Okay.
For the win.
So yesterday you entered the Highland Games, and this was a national show?
No, this was just it was a local competition.
Okay.
But anybody can sign up.
Okay. So before we get into what the games are, let's talk about how you got involved in the games, because this isn't bodybuilding or powerlifting or almost. This is really a niche sport.
Fringe.
So, yeah, why don't you explain how you actually got into it?
Sure. So I just turned 40 this year. So at the age of like 39 and a half, I decided to take on a new sport. I'd been powerlifting for about 3 years. And I had kind of gotten to a point where I was burnt out. I had done quite a few powerlifting meets pretty quick succession. And it was, I don't know that it was getting boring, but I was just wanting something more and something that was a little different way to use my body. And I had several people who were like national judges for Highland Games who had approached me, and they were like, you'd be really good. Like, you're built, because I'm 5'10", long arms, long legs, and strong. They were like, you're built to throw. And I had no idea, because I went to a high school where I graduated with 38 kids. And our school was so small, we didn't have track and field. And so I had never thrown shot put, discus, hammers, any of that. So I did some research, and those guys connected me to some people in the Midwest, because I live in Illinois, who do the Highland Games. And come to find out, there was a big club in Springfield where I live. So they had shut down for the pandemic. So I had to wait like a year before I could do anything. And they were having their first competition last June, since the pandemic had shut everything down. And they were like, the best way is just to show up to a local competition, and there are people there that will help you. It's a very community oriented sport. So enter the competition, you can try it out, see what you think. And then if you like it, we practice every weekend on the practice field in town. So
let me guess, you went once and was addicted.
Yeah.
That's usually how it works.
Went once and completely dominated.
Yeah. I think I placed third in my class of just open women, that first one. And nobody could believe I had never thrown before. Because they were like, you're a natural at this stuff. So yeah. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I did a few more, and I improved a little bit last year, but really over the winter. So in the Midwest, they only really happen from April through September, October. And so I bought some implements, spent the winter practicing, and came out this year, my first year as a master's athlete, and had really improved over the winter.
Alicia and I had a conversation. We talked about the reasons why women athletes get so much better with age. Why do you think women get better and better over 40? Because when men get to 40, it's usually all downhill. When women get to 40, it really starts taking off.
Yeah, so I think there's a few factors, but I'd say one of the bigger ones is just personal confidence. Like, because when it comes to strength sports, like confidence, I coach teens for powerlifting, and I coach women, and it takes about 2 years of pretty consistent training for women to really feel, and this is anecdotal evidence based on just the people I've worked with and my own personal experience. It takes them about 2 years to develop the confidence to feel like they kind of know what they're doing. And
Okay.
yeah, so I think confidence is key, because when somebody is more confident, like in the gym, they're going to push themselves a little bit harder and they're
That's
just going to execute the movements better.
Okay.
But the other thing is, I think some of the hormonal shifts that are happening for women as they age are advantageous too, especially if they're taking care of themselves and keeping up on blood work.
Yeah, that's what Alicia had said the same thing. I had agreed because the proof is in the pudding. And every time I see women athletes, they get better as time goes on. That's
Yeah,
just,
and I do think there's quite a bit of evidence, empirical evidence, that when women do strength training, we are more intentional. And so I think we're less likely to injure ourselves as compared to men.
okay.
So you have 20-year-old men in the gym and they're just going balls to the wall, like,
Right.
and you see a lot of injuries.
Oh yeah.
Women are a little more hesitant. They take it a little more slow and they're not as confident. So they're just, they take it slower. And, also just hormonally, it takes us longer to build muscles. So I think, if I started lifting in my mid 30s, and so at 40, I get stronger every single year. And it just takes us longer to build that muscle too. So I think we're more careful and we've got a little different trajectory. And I saw a recent article that came out. I don't know if you saw this one, but it talked about some new findings that if people, women and men alike, if they start lifting in their mid 30s, their peak, they're much stronger into their 40s and even 50s. So
maybe that's where I went wrong.
it was really interesting because when you start lifting in your teens or early 20s, you peak in your 30s.
Right.
And so I think a big part of the difference is just generationally, like when I'm 40, I was born in 1982. When I was going through school, girls were not encouraged to lift weights, to be in the weight room. And so women of my generation and before, we did not grow up lifting weights. And so if we do, there are outliers, but typically we don't discover that until our 30s.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if that shifts as time goes on, because more and more younger teen girls are getting into the strength sports.
Yeah, it actually really is nice to see. You need more women in the strength sports. It's 100%. How far did you take it when you were powerlifting?
So I did drug tested, and I have the national record for bench press for women. Yeah, for women in my age group. I have state squat or state bench and deadlift in total record in the federation that I lift in, which is AAPF.
And what was that?
So my bench was, it was kilograms, so it's like 210 basically.
Right.
My deadlift was basically 400. I can't remember what my total was. Right. That was in 2020.
That's pretty impressive. Nothing.
Yeah,
Alicia, what was your best lifts when it comes to powerlifting?
I benched 325.
Did you do powerlifting?
Damn.
But I mean, honestly, I could bench 315 in high school.
Wow.
So it was, strength was, I was always built for short distance power, like the long distance.
Switch.
Yeah. Okay. So the bench press, right.
I was the head cheerleader, but the high school football coach used to use me in the football weight training room to keep the boys motivated. And I was a big fan because he'd pull me out of class.
Yeah.
Regular classes, and he'd be like, "Hey, come do the," so I've always lifted heavy. I didn't realize it was like heavy back then, because in high school I wasn't competing, but 325 was my bench. I don't bench like that though, especially since I broke my arm.
Yeah.
I don't lift heavy like that anymore. I love powerlifting and I would love to lift heavy. The risk for injury right now,
Yeah, it's not worth it.
not worth it for me right now.
Erica, explain what the Highland Games are for people who don't know. You're my first competitor of the Highland Games. So
Yeah,
explain it.
It's so fun to watch, PS.
So it's generally outdoors. Like at the Arnold, they will do it indoors. But
Are they having it at the Arnold this year?
yeah, they had it this year. I was there for it.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
So there are 9 events. It originates in Scotland,
Mhm.
and back, I don't know, in the 11th century, I think is kind of what it dates back to. But it is where the shot put came from, the hammer throw. So those are 2 of the events. And then for a while, so some of the Olympics, when the modern Olympics first started in the 1800s, they pulled the hammer and the shot put, and also the tug of war. The tug of war is no longer an Olympic sport, but it was at one time.
Really?
So yeah.
I would love to, sorry to interrupt. We are planning to do a tug of war event in front of the Bellagio fountains in Las
Really?
Vegas. And I
That's
felt-
pretty cool.
Yes, it's amazing. Like,
So
but I didn't know it was an Olympic sport. That's
yeah, at one
awesome.
time it was. So yeah, there's 9 events, and generally you have everybody's competing at once, so they'll have us rotating. Most games will have all 9 events, but sometimes because of the size of the field or the implements that are available, there will be fewer.
Okay.
Yeah, so do you want me to go through the actual events?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Please.
so probably the quintessential Highland Games event that everybody knows about is the caber toss.
Right.
And that is it looks like it's a giant log telephone pole looking thing. And so you stand it has to be standing upright. You bend over and pick it up, and you have to hold underneath at the very bottom and carry it a distance and then flip it end over end. You're trying to get it to land at 12 o'clock on the clock face from where you throw it.
Okay.
So the caber toss is one. Then the sheaf toss is another that people know. It's where we take a pitchfork, and it's kind of a special pitchfork. Like it's either 2-tine or 3-tine. You don't just go to like the farm supply store and buy a regular pitchfork.
Yeah, right.
and you have a sheaf.
I had a question for you yesterday. Okay, so you traveled in here. So did you just borrow somebody?
Yeah, I borrowed a fork. So I didn't know how sheaf was going to go because I was having to use a fork that I'm not used to using.
So could you travel with it though? Like,
yeah, they have collapsible forks. I just haven't.
And can you throw your own sheath? Like
No.
if you brought it,
No,
they have it.
so
Okay,
all of the implements are weighed because
okay, that makes sense.
it's by weight. So
Okay.
the sheaf for women is 10 pounds. And so it's like a burlap bag that's filled with twine and it's weighted. So the men's is 16 pounds, I think. And you're throwing it vertically in the air to go over a bar
It's insane.
that's behind you.
Insane.
So I've been able to throw 20 feet.
She broke the field record yesterday.
And
by
weight
the
over.
way.
Really?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks.
mean-
So that was weight over bar, which is an event. You have a weight on a chain with a ring, and I'll send you videos of all of these and pictures
Yeah.
of throwing. But you can only use one hand to throw, and you're throwing it vertically in the air again over that bar behind you. So for us, it's a 21 pound or 28 pound weight. And so I threw 16 feet yesterday.
Wow.
It's also,
That's similar to the what do you call it? The strongman.
they do the sandbag toss. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
except they can use 2 hands. So it's a little bit
A
different.
little
but
different. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
yeah,
What's the
and
next
then
event?
we have there's the Scottish hammers. So Olympic hammers are like on a wire with a handle. The Scottish hammer, it kind of resembles a sledgehammer. So it's a stick with a lead weight on the end of it. And you can't move your feet with this. So you're standing with your back to the field, you rotate the hammer, it's on a 4-foot long stick around your body, and you throw it over your shoulder behind you.
Okay.
Heavy hammer and a light hammer. So for women, it's 16 and 12 pounds.
Mhm.
And then there's the stone puts. So there's two different stone puts, the Braemar stone, which is, for us, it's like roughly 15 or 16 pounds.
Mhm.
And you can't have forward motion. So it's a standing throw. So you're throwing 15 to 16 pounds as far as you can
Mhm.
across the field from a stand. And then there's open stones, which you can do the spin, you can do the South African, you can glide, slide, whatever you want to do with that.
Mhm.
The weights for distance, it's a similar weight to what you throw weight over bar, and you're
Mhm.
just throwing a weight as far as you can across the field. There's a heavy weight and a lightweight. Again, you can do spins. I'm not advanced enough to be able to do the spins yet, so I just basically bowl. I'm throwing it underhanded.
Okay.
And still getting competitive numbers doing that. So once I get the spin, I think I'll be doing pretty good there.
All right.
How many events did I get? All of them?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us how you did with each event yesterday.
So I won 5 of the 9 events yesterday.
Sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt. So the girls that she was competing against are all local, right?
All right.
Come up to me and they said, listen, we love Erica and she's so sweet and we love having her here, but please don't bring her next year because she's
So she's wrecking everybody.
and I'm cracking up. And I'm like, yeah, she'll come back.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
so the athletic director did tell me. So it's one of those things. I think strongman is like this. I think there's a few other sports that are like this, that you compete in the novice or whatever until you're told that you need to level up.
Mhm.
So I've been competing with the masters women this year
Mhm.
because my numbers just grew tremendously since last year. And so the athletic director was like, if you come out here again, you need to compete in the A class,
Yeah.
which is the class right below the pro level.
Mhm. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So you dominated yesterday, basically.
Yeah.
You dominated, and they
Yeah,
gave you.
I had a couple of PRs, which I was happy with considering I had less oxygen up here and was also sick.
Oh, that's right. You have bronchitis, and you did this all with bronchitis.
Really sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
So I'm like puffing on my inhaler in between.
we're getting her
throws.
like oxygen for the altitude.
Yeah.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
literally in bed. I've been on vacation out here all week. I was in bed almost the entire week leading up to this.
And I was
because-
like,
Oh,
going to the Instacare, like, come on. So, yeah.
that sucks. That
Yeah.
sucks. But at least you dominated. You got it done.
yeah.
So now, what does this qualify you for?
Yeah. So my next event is in Columbus, Ohio, August 6th, and it's an invitational. So what that means is like we all had to apply, and then they choose the athletes that will be competed based on the numbers, because it's a huge festival, like 200,000 people, and they want to make sure that we're putting on a good show, if you will. And it's an interesting sport because it's the women's competitions tend to draw a crowd. Because like, especially when we're doing the caber or the sheave toss.
But have you ever noticed, okay, you've been to the Olympia Expo.
Yes.
Okay. So the female bodybuilders had to do their prejudging at the expo.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So they have always told me that they didn't have the female bodybuilding prejudging on the main show because they didn't sell tickets. Okay, now but listen, hear me out. Okay. So the stage is in the back of the expo. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
So people will be carrying on crazy, busy, blah, blah, blah. As soon as the female bodybuilders come on that stage, people
Full. Yeah. That's
are
full.
just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And whether it's positive, negative, whatever it is, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
So more to your point, the female athletes,
They're a draw. They're a
the
serious
expo
draw.
came to a complete standstill, and people would come to watch.
I think it's, part of the popular dialogue that women's sports are boring and that we're not as fun to watch as men. But Highland Games really is one of those that I think it's just as exciting to watch the women compete as it is men.
And I don't know if you know this, but female bodybuilding, when
Mhm.
they took it out of the Olympia, was replaced with pole dancing. Our slot was replaced with that.
Are you serious? Really? Wow.
What's up?
Who's that? Is that you? Okay.
Which
Um,
I love pole dancing. I take pole dancing. I have a pole in my garage. Like, I love fucking pole dancing. But my point is,
it's bodybuilding show.
it's a bodybuilding
It's
show.
a bodybuilding show. Yeah. Well, and Arnold this year they didn't have women's bodybuilding, but they had
They
slapping
had
contest.
it for years, babe.
Hmm.
Years.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wa-
Him and I had
so
a conversation.
the slapping contest was going on while I was there for the Highland Games, and it was on the stage not too far away from us, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
The crowd that it drew was wild.
It blows me away. Like it's just like. Do you ever
Arnold's
see?
not a fan of female bodybuilding at
No,
all.
he hates female bodybuilding. He does not like.
Too, but
212. Clearly, but whatever. I mean, it is what it
but
is.
he is who he is because of bodybuilding.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about it. Absolutely.
So have your opinion, and that's totally fine. But you can't discredit.
Because every other women's class comes off of women's bodybuilding.
Mhm.
Whether that was the original.
Men's bodybuilding and women's bodybuilding.
That's
where
right. That's right. No, you're 100% accurate. And women's bodybuilding has came back in a strong way. And because look, if women want to do that and they love it, so be it.
and
And
some
they
women are born to do it.
yeah, and it's
I didn't have a choice.
right. Yeah.
I mean,
Bodybuilding picked you.
that
You
in a
didn't pick
negative
bodybuilding.
way. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but like, I'm not one of those girls that did figure,
Right.
physique, bodybuilding.
Right.
No,
Right.
I was born a heavyweight bodybuilder.
Right.
My first competition, I got on stage at 165 pounds.
Wow. That's big.
So it's like, you guys, like,
And I don't
Yeah.
people didn't have a choice in that. Just like
Mhm.
I wanted to be a ballerina and
wasn't working. Yeah.
on Broadway, genetically, no, come on.
Right.
It's just, it frustrates me. I love having all these different categories,
Mhm.
but just let the original be the original. It
Yeah,
just-
and if you have 5 girls that compete, big deal. You got 5 girls that compete. Who cares? So, Erica, what is the Super Bowl of the Highland Games? Where would you go? Who are the top pros?
So there are world, like there's Masters World, which is my goal next year.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to be in June in the Netherlands. It just happened it was up in Canada.
Mhm.
So there's the world's competition, but kind of the holy grail for most of us is to actually go to Scotland and compete in the Highland Games there. I don't think there's as many games there that have women's divisions. Women competing in Highland Games is a little more common in the States.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we do have national and international level competitions. And like Columbus that I'm doing in August, there's a lot of the pros are going to be there. So there's Janine, she's one of the top. There's 3 or 4 women right now that are over 40 that are just absolute beasts.
Right.
And a lot of Highland Games athletes were throwers in college because there's, they did shot put, discus
Right.
in college. And so this is a natural transition for them.
Do they have like juniors? Do they have a teenage?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the last event I did before this one was in Tennessee, and back in June, and there were 3 teens. The youngest I think was 12 that were competing. So there's a new crop of kids that are starting, and I think when you have more women in a sport too, like their kids naturally are probably going to be tagging along with them.
Right. Sure. Makes
A
sense.
little more commonly than with men competing.
Right.
I think kids are being exposed to competition sports.
Yeah, that's yeah, you're 100% right. If the moms are into it, the kids are going to be into it. They're going to be,
Yeah, I honestly had no idea that there was this whole world of adult sport competitions
Mhm.
until I had been working with a personal trainer. I started doing that in like 2014, and then she moved. So for lack of better options, I ended up in CrossFit. And I did that for like a year and a half. And my CrossFit coach was like, by that point, I was starting to have to use the men's weights for the workouts. And she was like, you should like think about competing for this because you're really strong. I was like, what? That's a thing? Because I think about I knew the Olympics existed, but I had no
Right.
idea there was anything outside of that. Because I grew up in the middle of nowhere, central Missouri country, like
Mhm,
on a
mhm.
farm. So she was like, there's lots of competitions in Illinois. So I registered for my first powerlifting competition, and it was a push-pull event, which was great because I had just had knee surgery and had a meniscus removed. So I was like broken, and did my first powerlifting meet. And I was like, this is a whole thing. Like there's 70 and 80-year-old women at this powerlifting meet competing. So that I'm really thankful that like I got exposed to that opportunity, because it's definitely, number one, it's given my training a lot more focus. Like I have intention and purpose
Mhm.
when I go to the gym, other than just for health purposes, which is great. But I'm somebody that needs a little more purpose and motivation to get me driven.
I've never been to a powerlifting meet yet. I gotta get to one.
Haven't?
No, I swear I've been to
Oh, there.
I've been to plenty of bodybuilding ones. I've been to plenty of arm wrestling.
They're the best ones I've gone to. So there's one in Aaron's was in Florida.
Mhm.
They had the powerlifting meet at a brewery.
Oh, really?
So unlike a bodybuilding show that you're like stuck captive forever,
Yeah, right.
the audience can at least order food, order a drink. Like you're gonna be there
They're-
all day.
Yeah, they're long.
So
Yeah.
But I do have a friend who she has a company called A1 Digital, and like they started televising like live streaming powerlifting meets. And so to me, they're changing the game for powerlifting,
Mhm.
because they have commentators that
So,
like know
yeah.
the background of the powerlifters.
Yeah.
Because powerlifting meets before this are just like person after person doing a bench.
So bodybuilding used to be on ESPN.
That's right. Yes, it was on ESPN. That's right. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to watch it. Yeah.
Where's The Rock?
They
He's
used-
gonna be the one that puts it back on TV.
I remember watching the USA's, the junior USA's on ESPN. That's right.
The Rock
you-
can do that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, he's trying, from what I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Have
Highland
you?
are definitely a little more interesting than powerlifting.
Yeah,
It's
that's it.
fun. I will say from like a spectator point of view, because I had never been to a Highland Games.
Mm.
So it was really cool because it's not just the competition, you kind of get the whole culture too. So they had like, the festival, and they had food, and they had
All the bagpipes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
had a lot of bagpipes.
That's pretty cool though. That's yeah.
But I mean, you can it was cool because it is kind of a long day, but you could walk around and talk to people and get a sense of the whole culture,
Right.
not just the event, which was cool, really cool.
Erica, have you seen some of the numbers that have been going up for powerlifting? It's like mind blowing.
Well, yeah, you have like Tamara Walcott, who is like raw female, no suit, sleeves, deadlifting over 600 pounds. Then you have the equipped women. Like it is just, and these are all older women.
Yeah.
Like,
I
Tamara's in her late 30s, I believe.
I actually interviewed what is her name? This is gonna kill me. She has the bench press world record. Amber Hansen. I'm sorry. She benched six and a quarter, something like that.
She equipped.
Yeah, equipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she trains with Jimmy Cobb, who actually has the equipped bench press world record at 1320.
Yep.
And I had Julius Maddox on,
Oh yeah.
and he's trying for 800. He's been trying for 800 raw, you know.
Yep.
And I had Leah Reitman on, who
I
squatted.
was going to ask if you've followed her. She came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, and she competed up in Chicago. I think last year was the first like real big meet that people started paying attention. And she is just a massive human too.
Yeah. And the nicest person.
Yeah.
Then that she squatted what, 925? Yeah, 925, but she's over 300 pounds. But she is,
Yep.
I mean,
Well, she's like 6'1". She's
yeah, she's a big girl. Yeah.
But to squat that much, especially at 6'1", damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's a distance.
Yeah, the physics when you're that tall.
I mean,
Right.
my
Yeah.
brother, I trained him for powerlifting, but he's 6'4",
Mhm.
and it's like people don't really, I'm short, so my distance, like I automatically have an advantage.
Yeah. 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 My squat was always my best lift because I have short legs too.
How much?
Yeah,
did you
and
squat?
What happened?
How much did you squat?
The best I've ever squatted was 540. 540.
Hey, see that?
Raw, obviously.
I just hit 415 for the first time squatting this
Damn.
spring. And with my knee, I'm happy with whatever I can get on
And
squats.
you've not been training like
Yeah.
nearly as long as
Yeah.
most.
And for me, the transition, and I still do powerlifting, and powerlifting is one of the best training methods to improve at Highland Games because you just need strength and power, and it's explosive movements. And there's the camp is kind of split. Like some people do Olympic weightlifting. For me, I have a torn up shoulder and knee, so the Olympic weightlifting is not functional or safe for me. But powerlifting I can do. So it's one of my advantages is just the upper body strength that I have. Because it's not common for women to have upper body.
Yeah. You're definitely, sounds like you are definitely made for the Highland Games. That's for sure.
Much more so than powerlifting. I'm too long limbed really for powerlifting.
Well, there's a lot of the weight categories. I mean, we talked about me and Alicia talked about Rita West, who had the squat world record at 148. She squatted 675 or something like that. I mean, that's just insane. But to see somebody that small,
yeah,
lift that.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. Alicia, I didn't get you to plug your stuff last time. I want you to plug your stuff this time.
Hey, okay. So Size Matters is my clothing company. And just to give you a quick rundown, again, I thought I was going to be a ballerina at 8 years old. I was going to be on Broadway. Quickly, high school, my dad was like, yeah, no, like genetically, we're going to steer you in a different direction. So Size Matters for me, the original idea was to embrace women, every shape, every size, every, whatever. So all my athletes, I'm trying to find every shape, every size. So that's kind of like the basis of the brand. We've started doing athletic wear really for the girls. I've sponsored 6 athletes. I have 6 athletes that will be coming with me to the Olympia. We have a booth at the Olympia. And kind of by accident, he's all passed out, but Milo, my guy, he's like my little therapy dog, but I made him some Size Matter shirts and people loved it. They went nuts.
Okay.
So I was like, shoot, okay, let's carry some dog stuff. So yeah, this little outfit, I mean, this is Size Matters. Erica is sporting this is my men's t-shirt. It has
is Erica one of your athletes?
She is one of my athletes.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
I have her. I have a strong woman. I have a boxer. 2 bodybuilders. I have a runway model. So all different
shapes and sizes.
Yes. So we are doing my store has, this is the men's. This is what Erica's wearing. So The men's t-shirt, we did an American flag.
Oh, very cool.
Yes, yes. I'll send you some.
Oh, please do.
I'll send you some. This calendar is obviously a little outdated because it's 2022, but 2023, because
Sultry.
the Olympia is in December this year.
That's
So
right. That's right. Yeah.
each of my models are going to get a month, and we're going to sell the new calendars.
Okay. Very nice.
That's coming, but yes, we're still working on branding.
And where can people find your clothing line?
So as of right now, I have a Shopify with all of what we have available.
Mhm.
And we're working towards just getting a separate website. But for
Okay.
now, Shopify, link in bio, that type of stuff, Instagram. Oops.
Okay, very cool. Yes, I actually have the Instagram, and I'll make sure that the Instagram link is in the description
Perfect.
for everybody easily
We
to.
are, so I decided our first booth being me, oh my hell. Let's just go for the Olympia, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's not start slow.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
dive headfirst in.
Mm.
So we will be at the Olympia. We have a booth there. And all my girls will be there. And
I gotta see if I can get there this year. I'm going.
you have to, how could you not go to the Olympia?
I went to Vegas, and I'm going to Vegas in September.
Nice.
So I gotta see if I can get there for the Olympia.
I mean,
It's fun. It really is.
the week before Christmas is, I don't know whose idea that was, but
Yeah, no,
that's
that's
a little rough. But
yeah.
I mean, the Olympia, I'm just super thankful that it's actually back in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
I think, that's really where it should be. But
Yeah, definitely. It's a great expo.
yes,
Definitely a great expo.
moved it this year. You know that, right?
What happened?
They moved it. So it's
Yeah,
at
it's
Venetian.
oh wow, very nice. I think am I staying there? No. No, where am I staying? Yes, I am staying there. I am staying at the Venetian this year. Okay.
And I'm way excited that the actual Olympia is going to be, it's a beautiful theater. Like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. You think anybody's gonna make any break the top five? Or you think you're gonna have the same guys from last year? As far as the guys go.
In the men's open,
Yeah, yeah. Because now everybody's talking about Hassan Mustafa, and people are talking. Of course, people are talking about Nick Walker and William Bonac.
in the 212s. I think it's a really interesting year. I feel like it's super exciting because there are a bunch of new guys, right?
A lot of new guys.
Nick
Yeah.
Walker. They're all very competitive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think as long as they stay injury free, and it's going to be really interesting, really exciting.
Do you know who I like a lot? And I think he has a ton of potential. Samson Dowda. He's the British bodybuilder.
Yes.
He looks phenomenal. He looks amazing. Great legs and small waist and just perfect aesthetic physique.
But Keon, I mean,
he looks incredible. I can't. I don't. How does somebody have a waist that small? And I just, especially at like 5'2". I mean, they're so.
To that point, though, the people like that I train, that I adore, that train their asses off, that I try to be like, I want to support them. Like I encourage anybody to, do whatever they want to do.
Right.
But bodybuilding is so genetic too.
It really is.
At some point, you have to be realistic and honest with yourself too. So it's like, as much as I thought I was going to be a ballerina, like literally, no, Alicia, no.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
What
happened to me? I did a couple of local shows. I did pretty good. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to Team Universe and see what the competition's like. I won masters in every every show I did. And I go and I just just as a spectator, and that was the year that John Meadows won. And I'm like, yeah,
Oh shit, yeah.
that's never happening. So that's it.
Well, and that's
I'm
that's
done.
a healthier mental approach, I
Yeah.
think, because I have a lot of clients that, you know, it's like you're gonna make yourself crazy, and not everybody can be LeBron James.
Right,
Not
right,
everybody
right.
can be- you know, you got to work with what you got too.
Yeah, yeah. When I saw him at Team Universe win the Open,
Of him.
I was like, I can't. I was just like, I can never achieve that. You know, I looked at him and I was like, I could never achieve that. And
He can make you feel like that. He's such a good dude.
yeah, he really was a good guy. He really was. And then I just went home and I was like, all right, we're done. We're done. I mean, he just looked phenomenal. It was unbelievable. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go.
Okay.
I really appreciate you doing this. Erica, thank you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Good luck to you in August, right?
Yep.
Okay, definitely. And we will keep in touch. And maybe we'll do a follow-up after you win that one.
I'm probably gonna get my butt kicked. Like
That's-
it'll be my first time playing with the big dogs. So
okay.
yeah, I mean, I've only been doing this a year, so I'm not arrogant about it. I know I need to
You'll
learn.
handle it.
I'm just muscling stuff around at this point. Like
Mm,
I have enough strength to like out throw a lot of women. So
mhm.
I'm working on building technique, and I'm honestly hoping to learn a lot from the other women that are there. And
Okay.
yeah,
Well, it's an
I'm-
experience, and I'm sure you'll do well. And we'll still definitely get you back and talk about how it went in August.
awesome.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Alicia,
Have a
thank you
good one.
again.
Thanks, John.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.